Ancient Assyrian line weights, which were used to measure metals, are the key to unlocking the mystery of the handwriting on the wall. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. We are going to begin to solve our mystery by going to Exodus chapter 38 and reading from verse 25 onwards. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,775 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. Now make note of these two groups of numbers. We have 100 talents, and we have 1,775 shekels. A bekah for every man, that is, half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went to be numbered, from 20 years old and upward, for 603,550 men. We just read that 603,550 men each gave a half shekel. And the next two verses explain what this silver was used for. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. We have the first group of silver made up of 100 talents of silver for the sockets that hold up the sanctuary pillars. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars and overlaid their chapiters. And so the other group of silver comes out to 1,775 shekels of silver. Let's recap. We have 603,550 men, which all gave a half shekel of silver. By dividing by 2, we are left with 301,775 full shekels of silver. The next step is to break down the total sum of silver into the two previously mentioned groups. 100 talents, or 300,000 shekels, for the sockets, and 1,775 shekels for the hooks. So let's set aside our silver for the hooks and focus in on the 100 talents for the sockets. The 100 talents is equal to 300,000 shekels based on the numbers provided in these scriptures. If 100 talents is equal to 300,000 shekels, then by dividing 300,000 by 100, we have 1 talent equals 3,000 shekels. This is valuable information because according to history, the ancient civilizations had 60 minas equal to 1 talent. And if 60 minas are equal to 1 talent, or 3,000 shekels of silver, how many shekels is in 1 mina? 3,000 divided by 60 equals 50 shekels. In the Septuagint, we have a good rendering of Ezekiel 45, verse 12, which harmonizes perfectly with the account we just read in Exodus 38. And history testifies the Hebrews used a 50 shekel mina in the ancient world. Prophecy, which is history written in advance, is in harmony with the history of mankind. The Bible agrees with history. They are both witnesses to the truth. Some may try to use the obscure reading of Ezekiel 45, verse 12, found in the Masoretic text, and use it as their reason for rejecting a 50 shekel mina. But in so doing this, they disregard Moses, history, the Septuagint, and as we will soon see, Daniel's account as well. I'm going to read an account of a discovery made from M. Clermont. He was the professor of Oriental archaeology in Paris. He says, in 1878, in the course of an epigraphic mission, which had been entrusted to me by the Minister of Public Instruction on account of the Committee of the Corpus Inscriptionum Semiticarum, I had occasion to study in the British Museum the important set of bronze lions' weights from Nineveh, many of which have bilingual inscriptions in Assyrian and Aramaean. One of these weights particularly attracted my attention. It is the one upon which is engraved an Aramaean word, up to that time generally read, quote, holy, close quote, which was considered an indication of a, quote, weight of the sanctuary, close quote, in opposition to the standard weight. A minute examination convinced me that the word ought to be read in reality, paros, which is half, moiety. This is confirmed by the cast brought back by me at that time, which has been placed in the cabinet of the Committee of the Corpus Inscriptionum Semiticarum, thus permitting a control of the exactness of this reading. The lion which bears this inscription, having weight perceptibly equal to that of half of the light mina, it was evident that we had to consider the word parar, which is half, directly as the denomination itself of a fixed ponderal quantity, namely the half mina. The Assyrian and, as we shall presently see, the Hebrew Aramaean agree in confirming this reading. Immediately, a comparison arose in my mind that we find in the set of weights from Nineveh, engraved in Aramaic characters, and a language approaching to Hebrew, the three names of weights. Mane, the mina. Sekel, the shekel. Pharis, the half mina. And that by a coincidence, truly singular, these three names correspond in a remarkable manner to the Aramaean words of the text of Daniel, mene, tekel, paris. The slight orthographical differences presented by the Aramaean forms are all rigorously explained by the well-known peculiarities of Aramaean compared with Hebrew. Now that we've heard this account, let's use this pertinent information to help us unlock perhaps the most enigmatical passages in all of Scripture. Mene, tekel, paris are sanctuary weights. But why does the handwriting on the wall mention mene twice, yet Daniel, in his interpretation, leave it out? The answer is obvious because there is more to the story yet to be discovered. Belshazzar was weighed in the heavenly sanctuary and found wanting. In the earthly sanctuary, to be found wanting signified an incident when the shekels offered did not add up to the standardized weights. The earthly sanctuary was but a type of the heavenly. When shekels were brought to the typical sanctuary, they were to be converted to gerahs, 20 gerahs per shekel. A mene equals 50 shekels. Mene again would be another 50 shekels. A tekel is a shekel. A upharsin is 25 shekels. Together, if we add them up, they equal 126 shekels. And if we times that by 20 gerahs, we have 2,520 gerahs. Mene, tekel, upharsin is 2520. In Daniel 8:13, Christ is called Palmoni, the secret numberer. When Palmoni was asked about the length of the scattering of God's people, his response over the course of two conversations may be summed up as, there are yet 2,300 years remaining from the decree to rebuild Jerusalem. And here lies the secret number, the 2520, of which the 2,300 days is but a portion. God's people would be scattered for 2,520 years before he would begin to gather the 144,000 from the 12 tribes. It is fascinating in light of the name, the numberer of secrets, aka Palmoni, that both the 2520 and the 144,000 are wonderful numbers in mathematics. I recommend you own the various charts that contain the 2520. You can follow the link in the description to an online store where you can purchase these prophetic charts.